So what the fuck are they going to do when the Supreme Court actually hears the challenge that Texas and whatever the fucking 18 other states are putting in front of the Supreme Court? And let's just say hypothetically they rule that this hypothetical election may or may not have contained a significant amount of cheating. Are they going to go ahead and rewrite history then? Or is this just the fucking future that we're all going to be dealing with here? If you guys haven't heard this, according to YouTube's new fucking rule system, their arbitrary rule system, they're taking this safe harbor date extremely seriously because nobody else is, because it's not a fucking thing. And they're going to start taking down any information regarding reporting on the fucking fraud out there. So I don't know if you guys will be hearing this or viewing this. I just literally cannot fucking believe this. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. So this could be just another very long data dump, but it's important because if it's happening on YouTube, it's not going to take that long. We already seen the censorship happening on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere else. So yeah, YouTube is just, I don't know, fucking lost their mind at this point. They just want everybody to be doing fucking tranny makeup tutorials or toy unboxings, screaming at the top of the lungs, playing fucking shitty video games. But of course you can still thrive doing fucking news coverage if you're like, well, today Orange Man was bad, and I can't wait for the ascent of the most popular politician of all time. Nothing to see here. What kind of socks is he wearing today? But no, if you want to do some actual critical thinking, they want you gone. Supporting the 2020 US election, propping up their fucking narrative. Updates to our work supporting the integrity of the 2020 US election. Here's our propaganda line. Over the past weeks and months, we've seen people coming to YouTube to learn more about where and how to vote, or learning more about a candidate or an issue. I've done that for several smaller candidates during the previous election, and I hope you found that all very interesting, but apparently they don't like that. At least not my opinion on it. Our main goal going into the election season was to make sure we're connecting with people with authoritative information, i.e. pushing Fox News, ABC, CBS, PBS, and not smaller content creators, because God knows they're not authoritative. It's not like I don't use fucking tons of sources. Useless cunts. While also limiting the reach of misinformation and removing harmful content. The work here is ongoing and we want to provide an update. Welcome to 1984. Removing content that violates our policies. Our community guidelines prohibit spam. You have no idea how many of those fucking stupid sex robot posters I have to delete off of all my videos. It's at least a handful on every single one. So yeah, spam and scams are really fucking good at doing that. Or other manipulated media, coordinated influence operations, lying whores, and any content that seeks to incite violence. Let me just pull up an Antifa page for you. They don't do fuck all about it, okay? This is just virtue signaling dick shittery. Since September, we've terminated over 8,000 channels, stunning and brave, and thousands of harmful or misleading election-related videos for violating our existing policies. Well, I've had a couple of my videos age-gated. I forget which ones they are at this point, but one of them I shown the aftermath of that scumbag in Pennsylvania getting fucking yeeted, and another one was just explaining what the Proud Boys actually are. So, you can see what they're doing. It's very obvious. Over 77% of those removed videos were taken down before they had 100 views. Gotcha. We also work to make sure that the line that was removed and what is allowed is drawn in the right place. Do you believe that for a second? Holy fuck. Somebody had the balls to write this. Our policies prohibit misleading viewers and where and how to vote. Theoretically, that should be useful, but how to vote? Really? You allow and support the Young Turks, and they are an outrageous Biden progressivism outlet, so stop lying. We also disallow content alleging widespread fraud, or errors challenged the outcome of a historical U.S. presidential election. Let me read that again. We also disallow content alleging widespread fraud or errors challenged the outcome of a historic presidential election. However, in some cases, that has meant allowing controversial views on the outcome or process of counting votes or of the current election, as election officials have worked to finalize counts. Once again, they're just using vague language in order to try to push whatever the fuck they want to. They don't want to nail down anything. It's like, hey, anything in regards to what Sidney Powell's pushing, let's just use that as an example. Okay, the Dominion machines, if shit was voted or votes were counted overseas, we're not allowing that stuff. No, just allegations of widespread fraud. And of course they got to use that disclaimer of widespread or errors that changed the outcome. Well, nothing has been changed yet, so we'll be held in suspense as to what exactly you mean there. Yesterday was the safe harbor deadline for the United States presidential election, and enough states have certified their election results to determine a president-elect. This is YouTube, by the way, saying that the safe harbor deadline, which is not in the Constitution, which has been disregarded as recently as 20 years ago, and more than likely is looking like that's going to be heading the exact same direction here, but they're stating it as settled law at this point. And also, may I remind you, there are 4 states right now going towards the Supreme Court that are going to be contested, and all 4 of their electoral votes, all 4 of their electoral college votes would decertify the victory I put in quotation marks, for the most popular politician of all time, Joe Biden. You can't forget that. 81 million votes and counting. A month and change on from the election. Given that, we will start removing any piece of content uploaded today, right now, or anytime after that misleads people by alleging that widespread fraud or errors change to the outcome of the 2020 presidential election in line with our approach towards historical U.S. presidential elections. So it's already been done and dusted, according to YouTube. The most competent source of election information, by the way, because they push the likes of ABC, CNN, MSNBC, and of course they're impartial because they also push Fox. They're one of their authoritative sources as well. It's not like anybody watches or anybody really uses their information out there. If I'm going to cite places like Fox News or ABC or CBS, it's got to be in proper context. It's got to be cited as well, because as we've seen before, they use a ton of weasel words. They use a ton of unreliable sources, or just fucking, hey, anonymous source, therefore this is 100% true. The days of old school journalism where you needed 2 independently verified sources in order to go with a story has long since gone, has long since died in the wall and decayed. No, what we're left with is YouTube telling us that there's nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Enjoy your socialist utopia. Honestly, I can say that without any hesitation at this point, because Biden's already saying 100 days of masks, probably could be longer than that, and look at my cabinet, but not too hard, because you'll just see a bunch of Chinese sympathizers and communists, and the people pulling the strings are definitely 100% those type of people as well. So the people thinking that Biden would be a return to normalcy, you forgot that there are a cabal of communists behind him. Anyways, let's finish this fucking worthless statement. For example, we will remove videos claiming that the presidential candidate won the election. That a presidential candidate won the election due to widespread software glitches or counting errors. Okay, so as we just covered in the previous video, if Michigan's audit reveals that there was significant errors in counting, what the fuck is going to happen? Is that just going to get memory hold? Like, seriously, they're going through a statewide audit right now, okay? What's the point of that? To find counting errors and glitches. Nobody going to be able to know about that? Is that just automatically going to flip in the dead of night and only CNN and ABC is allowed to post that to their channel? I don't know. I'm still going to fucking try. We will begin enforcing this policy today, and we'll ramp up in the weeks to come. Oh boy, I can't wait. As always, news coverage and commentary on these issues can remain on our site if there is sufficient brainwashing, education, documentary, scientific, or artistic context. Well, I throw in a bunch of dick jokes and I say retard a lot, so is that artistic? Could be autistic, but fuck YouTube. No, seriously. I started up a Rumble channel because when all of that age gating stuff started to happen, or when I was stagnant at fucking 101 subscribers for the better part of a fucking week, I knew something was up because I was gaining 1 or 2 every single day, and lately it's been 2 or 3 a day, and you know what? I haven't changed my content a whole lot, so something was fucked up. And by all means, please go visit me over on Rumble. I have got a ton of shit here, and as you can see, yeah, this is just the back end here. So what we got, I've got everything. I've been simultaneously uploading at the exact same time, so you guys can follow me over there. The player's great. The app is really good. At the same time, the only thing that they're missing is live streaming, and I'm not doing that right now for, well, obvious reasons, because what's the point? I just like to fucking throw up videos anyways. So, oh my god, before we move on to this, okay, my overlay was kind of covering this. That's just patently fucking wrong. Most of you US related election content. You know who had the biggest stream election night? Steven Crowder, over 500,000 people, and then it eventually ballooned up to 800,000 people. So, no. ABC News, fuck off. NBC News, fuck off. CNN. You look at the engagement on all of those sites there. Okay, yeah, they have millions of viewers, or they have millions of subscribers, rather. But you take a look at their view counts. They are engaging 1% of their audience, 0.1% of their audience. It is atrocious what they're actually doing. Yeah, the view counts on most of their videos are like 1,000. But no, they're the authoritative sources. Make sure that you listen to them. And they're all fucking downloaded to shit because it's all horse manure anyway. Sorry, pardon me for the strong language. But let's go to one of their authoritative sources and see what one of YouTube's buddies is up to, because Facebook hit with an antitrust lawsuit from the FTC and 48 states attorney generals because they don't have enough on their fucking plate. They're going to be hopping in on this motherfucker. We know for sure the attorney general from Arkansas, because I've seen his statement on this. And we're just going to go to one of the authoritative sources because I'd like for my channel to be staying up at the same time, and I believe the company line. A coalition of 48 states attorney generals led by New York's Lolita James, okay, now I'm suspicious, announced a new lawsuit against Facebook Wednesday, alleging the company stifles competition to protect its monopoly power. How about you do one for YouTube at the same time, huh? Especially with these cunty restrictions. The lawsuit comes the same day as the Federal Trade Commission announced a separate suit against the social media giant, also accusing it of competitive practices. For nearly a decade, Facebook used its dominance and monopoly power to crush smaller rivals and snuff out competition, all at the expense of everyday users, Attorney General James said in a statement. Today, we are taking action to stand up to the millions of consumers and many small businesses that have been harmed by Facebook's illegal behavior. Yeah, because I don't know if they're the chief offenders when it comes to censoring people, demonetizing, getting rid of their pages, but they are definitely neck and neck with Twitter. But as much as Jack likes to think that his platform is as significant as Facebook, the reach in Facebook is still 10 to 20 fold larger. Don't have specific numbers. I could care less about these social media platforms. Hopefully they all fucking burn to the ground. James said Facebook, yes, used its power to suppress competition so it could take advantage of users and make billions by converting personal data into a cash cow. You can see where her head's at. It's all about the money. I would say it was stifling free speech and creativity, but if she wants to take a look at the financial side of things, don't be surprised if nothing happens to this, because greed gets you nowhere. She added that almost every state in the nation has joined the bipartisan lawsuit because Facebook's efforts to dominate the market were as illegal as they were harmful. The separate FTC lawsuit alleges that the company illegally maintained its monopoly through years of anti-competitive practices. Personal social networking is central to the lives of millions of Americans. Ian Connor, the director of the FTC's Bureau of Competition, said in its statement, Facebook's actions to entrench and maintain its monopoly deny consumers the benefit of competition. Our aim is to roll back Facebook's anti-competitive conduct and restore competition so that innovative and free competition can thrive. I like that statement 1,000 times more than the other one, or, well, obvious reasons I just explained. Facebook tweeted from its official community. You just see how deeply in bed they are with one another. And it's just the fact that Facebook couldn't, just make a Facebook post about it. They had to go ahead and support their fellow brother in arms over there at Twitter. Its official communications account that is reviewing complaints. We're reviewing the complaints and we'll have more to say soon. Stay tuned, guys. We have to fire up the Zuckerbot, the company said. Years after the FTC cleared our acquisition, the government now wants a do-over with no regard for the impact that precedent would have on the broader business community or people who choose our products every day. Well, don't act monopolistic and you won't be treated as a monopoly. All right, let's see what we got here. The Attorney General's lawsuits accused Facebook's of violating Section 2 of the Sherman Act and multiple violations of Section 7 of the Clayton Act. It is seeking the court to halt Facebook's allegedly anti-competitive conduct and prevent it from doing so in the future. In addition, the coalition asks that Facebook be prohibited from making further acquisitions valued at or over $10 million without advance notice to the states. Lastly, it seeks unspecified additional relief. Whatever. So they just want to stop it from getting bigger. That's it. Let's see what the FTC is up to. FTC lawsuit delves into Facebook's 2012 acquisition of Instagram and 2014 acquisition of WhatsApp. As example of it wielding its monopoly power, very much so. I don't use Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, but pretty much everybody and their mother does. So I knew that they owned Instagram. I just didn't know that they owned WhatsApp. That's interesting. The FTC suit seeks a permanent injunction in federal court that could require Facebook to sell off Instagram and WhatsApp. There you go, a much more substantive claim. It's kind of like comparing Dominion voting systems to signature ballot checks, or challenging the unconstitutionality of certain laws. One has more standing than the other. It also seeks Facebook giving notice and gaining approval for future mergers and acquisitions, as well as end its alleged anti-competitive conditions for software developers. And of course, the rebuttal from Facebook. This is revisionist history, care of Jennifer Newstead, Vice President and General Counsel. Good. Next, move on to Google. I know that there's one out there in the ether. I know that for sure. And the FTC took up the Facebook one, and I think that they also have the Google one in front of them. Sell off YouTube, sack Wojcicki, break up Alphabet, because you can argue those exact same things that Facebook has there with Instagram and WhatsApp. You got all of their monopolistic natures when it comes to search engines they're paying every single smartphone provider to put Google as their default browser. It is the overwhelming majority of search engine uses online, and it snuffs everybody else out by just making it the default and making it extremely difficult to change out of. And YouTube, that's why, those fucking changes in order to present the correct information, that's just monopolistic behavior. Because as much as BitChute's rising, Rumble's rising for sure, it's looking to be the most viable alternative, definitely at least based on the metrics and what I'm seeing and who's using it. I would love nothing more than for Trump to just spin around in his chair, flipping his middle fingers off in the air and ripping up Section 230. But his little ultimatum about the defense bill, just a little side note, because we aren't going to have time to cover this one today because there's so much fucking news in the past couple of days and probably into tomorrow as well, that the defense bill that he said he was going to veto, and as long as Section 230 was still standing, so either repeal Section 230 or don't get funding for the national defense budget, it was passed with a veto-proof majority through the House because Rhino's going to rhino and Democrats going to burn down the country. Oh, I'm sorry, continue to be partisan hacks. Oh, once again, I stuttered over my words a little bit. They're just going to be Democrats, right? Tear apart the country, why don't you? You support all these big tech monopolies, so you won't do a fucking thing about it. So that's another reason why we need to have Trump in there for another 4 years, because this shit is only going to get worse. Only going to get worse with Biden in charge, because he's A, not going to care, and B, probably doesn't even know how to fucking log into any of these apps anyways. So you just think, what the fuck's the big deal? He's got everybody else running those social media programs that he has anyways. You actually think he'd be sitting there typing away on his fucking phone about whatever his stupid little Unity messages are? Highly doubt it. The only thing he can do is search for a L'Oreal Kids No More Tears shampoo. Anyways, guys, that was a bit of a downer, but I'm optimistic for the other platforms that are rising up in the aftermath of this Orwellian horror story. Rumble, Parler still kicks ass. And if Twitter and Facebook blew up tomorrow, I wouldn't give a single flying fuck. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.